Are you a penthouse overlooking the city type of person, or are you a gated community in the suburbs person? Maybe you just need your very own estate. The luxury housing market is really growing in Raleigh, but the lifestyle you can get is very different from one neighborhood to the next. By the end of this video, you're going to have a very good understanding of the types of housing you can get in the Raleigh luxury market. There are basically 5 types of luxury housing available in Raleigh. We're going to talk about where they are, what you can expect to pay for them, and we're going to talk with one of Raleigh's premier luxury builders and take a look at some of the stunning features they can do in their completely custom builds. Because even in the luxury market, there is definitely limited availability. If you have the time to custom build before your move, you can have your dream house. So we're talking with Exeter Builders, and we're going to look at some projects that they have in the works for a brand new luxury gated community in the rolling hills of North Raleigh. First, let's talk about what exactly qualifies as luxury housing in Raleigh. You can't just go by price, especially as our prices are increasing. As one local told me, $700,000 used to be luxury, but now it's just a regular house. For the purposes of this video, I like to call the top 10% of listings by price the luxury market. So if there are currently 714 homes for sale, the 71 most expensive I would consider luxury homes. Right now, that means that $1.1 million is the minimum price point for me to consider a property luxury in Raleigh. This would be different for the surrounding suburbs, and I might do a video about the luxury market in different suburbs in the future, but today we're talking specifically about Raleigh. Also important to note, there are parts of Raleigh where that $1.1 million entry price is only the lot value. So in those areas, luxury starts at almost $1 million higher than other areas that we're going to talk about today, but we'll get to that in just a minute.
What makes just a home you can buy compared to luxury? And I think the best word that defines it is just the integration and experience. And I say that because when you walk into a luxury home, an Exeter home right now, the things you'll notice are how different aspects of the home, plumbing, lighting, hardware, are integrated in a way that makes it seem like every decision was thought of at the same time. It was all not just let's choose that and walk away and choose it differently. It's not a hodgepodge. Everything integrates really, really well.
The first type of luxury housing I'm referring to as single-family urban homes, houses within the city limits that have that city-like feel to them. The first location where we tend to see these types of homes in Raleigh is in the area locals refer to as ITB, for inside the Beltline, but it's not the whole area encompassed by the 440 Beltline. Practically speaking, it's the many urban neighborhoods that sit between the 5 Points area and the Carolina Country Club. Some of the more popular neighborhoods in this area are Country Club Hills, Sunset Hills, University Park, Bloomsbury, 5 Points, and Hayes Barton.
Inside the Beltline is a unique area in Raleigh, and like many cities, we've sort of grown around a center. And so many of the homes that we're building inside the Beltline now are replacing a home that may have been in place earlier. So it's exclusive neighborhoods, it's great streets, it's terrific schools, terrific neighbors, but we do have to buy and then probably tear down a home and then build new onto that same property.
Also, you should know that the Carolina Country Club is pretty exclusive, and in order to become a member, you need to be nominated by a current member. So if you move into the neighborhood, I would suggest to start by bringing pie to your neighbors, but that's just me. In addition to the really gorgeous older homes, this is the part of the city where we see a lot of teardowns. Many of the houses in this area were built in the 50s and 60s, and these teardowns aren't the kind of housing that people are looking for these days. So you might have some areas where you have homes like this right next to a new build. If you were looking at a newer home in the area, you might find something like this, or you might find an older luxury home like this one. It's really interesting to note that there isn't as much bidding competition in this area as other areas of the city, but that doesn't mean that it's not as popular of an area. It's one of the most popular areas in the whole county.
Living inside the Beltline is probably a little different for everybody, like every experience, but for my family, it's proximity. It's the ability to get where they want to go quickly and easily. It's being in a walkable neighborhood where we can take our dogs out and see the neighbors. It's walking down the street and seeing other homes that make you smile. Seeing people that make you smile. And I think that's what neighborhoods are all about.
This is the area I just mentioned where the lot prices start around $1 million. The average home price of homes currently under contract in this area is just under $2 million. So why is there less bidding on these homes than others? I've said in other videos that bidding in the luxury market is more competitive than lower price subsets of the market, but not here in this little pocket inside the Beltline. And this is why. More than 50% of recently sold homes in this area are new construction, and these these are usually teardowns replaced with custom builds. So the process of getting under contract for homes in these teardown neighborhoods is completely different than in most areas where we either see entire neighborhoods being built out or existing homes being bought. In cases like this, the process goes something like this. The buyer will contact their agent. The agent will consult with them to determine a few builders that best fit the buyer's needs in terms of timeline, financial resources, design, and lot options. Finding the lot in the location that the buyer wants can be a much bigger part of the equation than many people realize, and that even has an impact on which builder you choose. Once the agent and the buyer identify the builder that's the best fit, they'll go under contract for the lot, which often isn't listed in the MLS, which is why there often aren't bidding wars on them. Again, it's probably worth noting that this part of Raleigh is the only place where we see these historic old luxury homes. If you want to be close to the city, but you don't quite want that city sidewalk feel, you might be looking for a more modern planned community within a country club neighborhood. I know that we did just talk about Carolina Country Club and Country Club Hills, but I don't really think of that as a golf community. It's more like an old Southern golf club surrounded by luxury homes. It wasn't a planned community in the way that modern golf communities are. Northridge neighborhood in North Raleigh is one of these planned neighborhoods. This is a really beautiful area of Raleigh. Keep in mind that there are some big power lines running through a few parts of this neighborhood, so if you see something online that's priced a little bit lower than it seems like it should be, that might be why. It's still a beautiful neighborhood and a very desirable area, so don't let that stop you. These are mostly older homes. Many were built in the 80s, so not as old as the Country Club Hills area where we see lots of teardowns. We are just starting to see teardowns in this Northridge area. In Northridge, you might see homes as small as 2,000 square feet, but most of the homes are well over 3,000 like this one. Another golf community much closer to RTP is Briar Creek. Now, Briar Creek is not a luxury community, but there is a luxury section of the neighborhood. It was planned to have a lot of different levels of housing, from your entry-level condos and townhomes up to really beautiful luxury homes like this. Most of these homes were built in the early to mid-2000s, so even newer than Northridge, but they might be starting to feel a little bit dated, not old enough to have been remodeled yet, but not new enough to feel new. But there are definitely some really gorgeous floor plans in here. You are required to have at least a social membership to the Briar Creek Country Club, which is $2,500 a year based on most recent numbers. Another country club neighborhood on the other side of town is Wakefield. This is up near Wake Forest, but still a Raleigh address, and it's also kind of like Briar Creek with the many different levels of housing in the neighborhood. Then there's this Wakefield Estates section with properties ranging from 4,000 to 8,000 square feet. The next type of luxury housing we have in Raleigh are luxury condos. We don't have a ton of this kind of inventory, but it's getting more popular and builders are building more of it. Downtown Raleigh is a really beautiful city, but luxury condos are pretty rare around here. But here's a few that have been on the market recently. And there's more demand that builders are trying to respond to, so I expect to see more things like this in the future. 904 The Oberlin is a condo community that's walkable to all kinds of shopping and great food options in the Village District. This is a really popular shopping area inside the Beltline and just a few minutes from downtown Raleigh. It's right here on the west side of Raleigh and kind of runs into the NC State area, which is also West Raleigh. Of course, there's a lot of student housing near NC State, so you don't see as much of the luxury stuff over there. These condos have really cute patios on the top floor. I am sure there's an amazing view up there. 1300 St. Mary's is a building in the Hayes-Barton area of Raleigh. This unit recently went under contract. It's a penthouse with an urban loft feel. It's really cool. In Raleigh, there's a growing market for luxury planned communities. Some of them are gated and some are not. I'm getting more and more requests for people asking for gated communities. That's not always been a popular thing around here because honestly, we just don't have a lot of crime. But a lot of the people that are moving here are coming from higher crime areas, and so there's this big demand for them that there hasn't been before. I've never lived in a gated community, and the only time I've been a victim of crime in Raleigh was in 2003 when someone hit all the cars on my street and they stole some CDs out of my car. I had the chance to visit with Exeter Homes, and we looked at some of the amazing things they have coming up in this luxury community market.
So because the out-of-town buyer is so critical in our market, what we've done is we've invested not only in the tools, but also in the team to ensure that our clients get the level of service that they require. So we've got about twice the number of designers, twice the number of project managers, twice the amount of office support staff just so that we can ensure to be responsive and proactive with clients as they come to us from out of town.
We offer full luxury custom pre-sale homes. If you have a vision, you have an idea of what you're looking to do, and you want to be able to execute it as you perceive, yes, we're happy to help. We're happy to get you in front of a designer, start from ground zero and go all the way. And that's something we can start today. It's not something we have to wait and have the ability to do down the road. We're ready to go on that today, which is something that we're really proud of being able to say. Not afraid of change orders. We openly love them. It's actually something we find really, really unique. Some things that I think are really, really important for us are kind of the features you may not notice, right up front, but once you notice them, you can't forget that it's an aspect of your home. The first thing is we do integrated hardwood and tile floor vents for the HVAC, which is something that as you walk through the home are always going to be, except for carpet, a little hard to make a carpet integrated HVAC vent, but we'll actually do a tile matched cover that is inlay flush to the floor to make your HVAC look seamless. We do integrate under cabinet lighting and put the electrical outlets up underneath the cabinetry so you don't see them. So you've got a clean, beautiful aesthetic throughout all the wet bar areas in the home. Upstairs, downstairs, your kitchen, butler's pantry, all of them, that's going to be a standard feature that we will do, which is a nice piece for sure. Pantries and items like that have the ability for you to pick exactly what you want. We'll prefab it on site and can really create your vision come true. It isn't ordered ahead of time and can do it on site, and that's a really, really unique feature, I think. Right now, for active projects we have, I think, the least amount of square foot with land included is going to be right around $300 a square foot. That is going to be probably more accessible with a basement home when you've got that extra square footage. When you do add that basement, that does give you ability to kind of even out your price per square foot. We do have other homes that might be downtown with the lot cost that it's going to be closer to $600 to $650, depending on what level home you might do, what size. But it can vary up, but there's a lot of factors that can go in there. But I'd say between $300 and $650.
Yeah, that's. There are a couple areas in Raleigh where you can sometimes find private estate homes. Sometimes these are horse properties, sometimes they overlook a lake, or maybe they just have a really nice large lot with a lot of privacy. Usually they have a few acres with them, maybe 2 to 4 acres in most cases, but in Raleigh, these properties are almost always up here by Falls Lake or down here by Lake Wheeler. This property sold recently. It overlooks Lake Wheeler, and look at these stunning gardens. This is amazing. I love this kind of thing. Okay, this property is up not quite as far as Falls Lake, and it overlooks a large pond rather than a lake. What stunning architecture on this one. You should watch this video where I talk about why homes on Raleigh's east side are so much cheaper than on the west side. You'll learn a ton about the area.